Alright y'all, welcome back to Commando channel. So this video was actually recommended to me on my Instagram, and it's something that I wanted to check out almost right away, just because it's about 4-3 Commando, and basically 4-3 Commando is the Royal Marine equivalent to what I was doing on the recapture tactics team in the Marines. And they're basically responsible for securing the structures on the nuclear submarine bases if there was any unauthorized access to any of the locations or potential loss of the strategic weapons. So that's basically what the recapture tactics team does. Now 4-3 Commando is again pretty much the Royal Marine equivalent. So they're on the nuclear submarine bases as well, and they're sort of like the nuclear deterrent. So they're the ones responsible for reacting to everything and making sure that those bases are secure. So this is something that I want to check out just because I know my units, the recapture tactics team, has worked with 4-3 Commando a bunch. Actually, right after I left the recapture tactics team, I say maybe like a month or two, my team went out and trained with them. Now they do a lot of training in police facilities, and that's basically what this video is about. So very excited to check it out. So we'll get right into it. Nice.
Taking a building room.
Okay, so right off the bat, I need to start talking about the gear. So I know the Royal Marines pretty much, like, they upgraded their kit recently. It's sort of like part of their future, like, commando program or something like that. So I'm not sure if it's going to take a while to get all that gear trickled down to all the Royal Marine units. But yeah, 4-3 Commando looks like they're using some of the old standard stuff, but still some pretty cool gear. You can see they have their gas mask on. Now, the reason why they have gas masks, especially with nuclear submarine bases, there's a lot of weird chemicals going around. There's a lot of radiation and all this crazy stuff. So generally, if you're going to be reacting, you would have your gas mask on you in case, you know, anything crazy happened. You could just protect yourself. But it might just be standard for them to do training with their gas mask on, which is totally solid. Yeah, it's much harder to do room clearing when you have a gas mask on. But you can see he's also got the ballistic shield. Awesome. Ballistic shields are very solid, especially with close quarter battle. They're kind of a game changer sometimes. If you really need it, you can use it. So it's nice to have. But yeah, this video is going to be focused primarily on close quarter battle training. And these guys pretty much do what we do. So I'll try and keep some notes and explain to y'all what I see.
By room. With potential danger around every turn.
Nice GoPro on the ballistic shield. Okay. It's nice to have that shield though.
For the Marines of 4-3 Commando, these are vital skills.
Okay, so something that I saw which is kind of weird. One, a lot of these guys are going through with a pistol. Now, if you're going through with a pistol, that's totally fine. A lot of times when the area gets really constricted, some people just feel more comfortable taking out their pistol. Like me personally, I feel pretty comfortable using my pistol in close quarter battle engagements, but some people don't necessarily feel the same. I'd be totally alright taking out my pistol, especially if there was, you know, not that much room. But we could see in this video, a couple of them have their pistols out, and then you can see this gent right over here, he has his rifle up. Now, it's not generally what you want to do, just because, like, if there's a danger area, there's something that we call cross coverage. So he can have his rifle basically pointed in this corner while the cameraman points his rifle in this corner, or pistol, whatever he's using. But their entry looked pretty good.
Skills.
You can see... Yeah, you can see that 3-man was right in there with his pistol, so that was pretty solid. And this room has a lot of furniture, so
they're in charge of the security of the UK's
it's a little bit harder.
Deterrent.
Clear. Get in there. Upstairs.
Operating in urban and industrial environments.
So I don't know if you saw that, but the first man went in and the second man was running in after him because he basically didn't have a partner with him to clear the other corner. We'll watch that again.
Get in there.
So he's telling him to get in there.
Operating in urban and industrial environments.
Yeah, that's funny.
Surprise and momentum are good, and lots of aggression as well, and we'll never go into the room by ourselves, so you're relying on your oppo next to you to cover your back. And yeah, moving into those rooms where there is a threat, we don't necessarily know what's in there or where he's positioned, and yeah, we're relying on the tactics we train here in terms of CQB, and also relying on the bloke next to you to protect your back.
Absolutely. Okay, now I will say, I haven't seen many Royal Marines use it looks like the M4. Now they might be doing that just because in that specific training area, they have specific weapons that they utilize, but I don't know, his body armor looks very solid. So that's like very lightweight body armor, especially that design right there where you have the cuts. So that's pretty new. That looks pretty new. So I'm not sure if they got some of the new like futures, I guess the future Commando program. I guess they got some of that equipment. So that's pretty cool.
The Marines work in teams to painstakingly clear a building one room at a time. With risks potentially lurking behind every door, they always have to be alert and focused.
Yeah, those doors can get very confusing.
4-3 Commando would usually be training abroad, but this year the units had to change its plans due to the travel restrictions around coronavirus.
Yeah, what a struggle.
They've come to the police training college in Jackton instead, where the force's armed officers sharpen their skills in this urban training environment.
So I find it kind of weird that they're all... I didn't see this whenever we were working with Royal Marine Commandos, but I didn't see where they're all holding up their weapon. I'm not exactly sure why they train to do that. A lot of times if you're holding your weapon up, you'd be like pretty close to the person behind you. You don't necessarily need to be that close. It's totally fine for them to be spaced out, but having their weapons up just seems a little bit strange. Maybe they just practice it so they can drive it down. At least in the US, we train to keep it a little bit low, just to force it up like that if a target does present itself. So they might just be training to drop the muzzle instead of raise it. But the people in the front should definitely have their weapons pointed towards the danger area that they're actually walking towards, whether it be a doorway or an alleyway or what have you.
Officers sharpen their skills in this urban training environment.
At this time of year, normally we'd be overseas, either in the Netherlands or over in Gibraltar, but because of COVID, we're restricted. Training at Jackton's given us just somewhere new to train, a different facility, something we're not used to. So instead of sort of having an idea of what might be around the corner or what we're coming up against, it's completely new. So we're thinking on our feet and using our initiative.
Hell yeah.
Despite the disruption to their usual schedule, the Marines are having to adapt. With their role in supporting the Trident nuclear fleet, it's vital training like this continues.
Okay, so that was kind of weird right there. So you can see he was shooting his rifle. I'm not sure if he had a malfunction or if he just had a reload or what have you, but he immediately drew his pistol, which is totally good. You never want to really mess with malfunctions or anything if you have a pistol available in an environment like that. But he was sort of like taking his pistol out, shooting in the doorway. If something like that does happen where your weapon goes down, it's better just to get out of the way so the people with the rifles can still engage the targets. But totally fine. I mean, there's something called initiative-based tactics, which is basically a funny military way of saying if someone's messing up, you just pick up the slack and figure it out. And I mean, you can do that yourself, really, if you feel like it's safer for you to take out your pistol and engage it. If you think it's, you know, the right move, then it's not really wrong or right. As long as everything sort of works itself out, then it's totally fine. It's just things you notice, I guess.
19 has provided a degree of friction to all organisations nationwide, and the military certainly has not been exempt from that, and the Royal Marines included in that. But the continuous at-sea deterrence, which we support, that remains continuous. And if those operations continue, our mission continues, and so therefore the training continues.
Okay, so real quick, using drones in an urban environment is so clutch, especially when there's like weird compounds, like you can see there's a bunch of walls and whatnot. If you get a drone up and you can get like a 360 of everything, it makes your situational awareness so much better. Now the quadcopters, you can see they can be kind of loud, so the enemy is probably going to be looking at it. So, I mean, you could also use that as a distraction if you really need to. In the Army, we practice with the Black Hornet drone, which is like a really small helicopter, and it's super quiet. Even from like 10 meters away, you wouldn't hear that thing. and it's so small you wouldn't really see it. With a quadcopter, it's a little bit easier to see out of your like peripheral vision, but for recon, even in an urban environment, it's like very, very clutch. So it's cool out there using stuff like that.
The Commando unit also uses the latest high-tech kit to help them in environments like this.
Yeah, for sure. Look at that. That's
These
awesome.
drones give them another pair of eyes into any building the Marines are about to enter.
That's a very good idea.
While the miniature throwbot can transmit video and audio from hard or dangerous to reach areas of the combat zone.
That's
Moving
sick.
towards Future Commando Force, we're using technologies such as the RPAS, so that's the remotely piloted aerial system, and the throwbot. And what that gives is the Marine and the tactical commander on the ground the extra bit of initiative to make decisions quicker and also to make those decisions better informed. And it's
That is a very, very cool idea. Now, I've not seen that used at all. I didn't even know that was really a thing and used by conventional forces, but I could really see the benefit, especially with weird buildings like stuff you'd find on nuclear submarine bases where there's like a bunch of nooks and crannies because you have like weird storage compartments or like weird places where they would be doing some sort of maintenance on maybe the missiles or the submarines. There's a lot of nooks and crannies, so having something like that would be very, very cool. Even if you don't feel comfortable getting the quadcopter drone inside there, you can use that. I think they call it the throw drone, throw bots, something like that. If you can use that and start going around to do a reconnaissance of the building, like that would be very solid. Because a lot of times you're going in there with pretty much no knowledge of the layouts, and it can get super sketchy. And a lot of times there's not necessarily a loss of confidence, but it takes a split second of trying to figure out where everything is at, and sometimes you might not be as quick to go into a certain room if you don't necessarily know the layout or if you don't know that there's people inside. So if you can just verify that before going in, that's a very good tool.
It's all about making the Marine as operationally effective as he can be.
4-3 Commando are specialists in this kind of combat. But continuous training like this is vital to maintain their capability.
Very true. Alright, so that was from Forces TV, and they have a lot of awesome stuff, so I do appreciate the awesome content these guys put out. But yeah, like they were saying, you really need to keep up with your close quarter battle training because things don't necessarily go outdated too quickly. Things will be tested based off of certain operational environments. So some tactics might get phased in and they might phase out other tactics just based off of like real life experience from your unit or other units. So CQB will change in that sense, but there's a lot of ways to tackle it. But you do need the repetitions or else you're not really going to be that solid of a team. Whenever there's members switching out of the team, or if you're going to a different location, you need to get all those repetitions in so you can feel comfortable with what you're doing and comfortable with one thing. Especially if you're going to clear out a ship, that's completely different from clearing out a building. So you need to do a bunch of different settings and training in all these different areas. So it's cool that they're able to go to a new police facility because that really helps build, not necessarily like a muscle memory for the building, but confidence in your ability to think on the spot because CQB is all about those split-second decisions. But yeah, those drones are really, really cool. We didn't really utilize drones too much when I was on the recapture tactics team. We never really implemented them. I know one time someone was discussing using them, but I didn't really use drones until I was in the Army. And man, I can say they really do make a world of difference. So it's really cool to see that they're implementing those during their training. So if they're constantly training and using them, then they can get the entire building or whatever facility cleared much faster using those, and also much safer, which is better for the guys in the long run. But yeah, this was a really cool video. I do appreciate the fan who recommended this on Instagram. But yeah, keep the recommendations coming, guys. This one kind of jumped the list, so I feel a little bit bad. But this one is very close to me just because I know 4-3 Commando and I understand their job, and it's just cool to check out. And sometimes it's a little bit hard for me to jump on videos that were just released just based off of the list that I have already. But definitely keep those recommendations coming, y'all. I do appreciate it. I do have a pretty solid list of videos that I need to react to. So, I mean, there's definitely not going to be any shortage of content. So I do appreciate you guys watching. Again, definitely let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you have any experience with 4-3 Commando or maybe even working on a nuclear facility, then let me know, because I know it can be a completely different and strange beast if you're not used to it. But yeah, again, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. But that is it for this one, so I will see y'all in the next one.